Let's bring in the Rumaila oil field, southern Iraq, near the Kuwaiti border. That's been beset by challenges from environmental challenges to aging infrastructure. And yet, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Iman, PetroChina still remains part of that consortium running a technical services contract. What's the future of this major field? And are there other prospects in Iraq that are perhaps being overlooked?
Yeah, the problem with some of these larger oil fields in Iraq remains, as you mentioned, environmental, but also access to water capacity. There's a huge amount of water injection needed in some of the Basra oil fields and southern fields, which has kept even the previous IOCs and existing IOCs from achieving their targets. We know that when first some of these producing contracts, development contracts were signed, the total capacity target was way, way higher. People started, I remember back in 2000s, soon after basically the new Iraq was started to form, 10+ million barrels per day capacity target was set. Then it continuously revised down to 8 and then 7 and 6, and that's because of all these constraints that they're facing in terms of access to water and other environmental flaring. The pressure on the country is immense and building up. They have not done much about it. So all of these have been barriers that the developers have been facing. We saw some of the IOCs exiting the country for all of these pressures. So it's not necessarily about the availability of resource and the cheap access to bringing that oil to the ground. There's all the other concerns around producing and also placing it into the market, which has kept Iraqi oil development plans behind the schedule for so long.
Imam, do you have any insights into the outlook for production within Iraq's semi-autonomous Kurdistan region? They've been having challenges of their own, of course, sovereignty issues, etc., and exporting issues. But is that an area of interest within Iraq that China could participate in?
Yes, in terms of resource availability and potential for development, there is a significant amount of potential, although it's more gas prone than oil, but still there are oil fields there and undeveloped, discovered but not developed oil reserves there. The problem for Kurdistan continues, and in my opinion, and our team looking into Iraq market every month and writing notes and monthly reports on it, continue to believe that basically the challenge remains in Baghdad, Kurdistan, dealing on this matter. The payments, the agreement on pipeline, which has kept the pipeline outside the market, and the production remains well below capacity. All of these have kept aspirations of developing oil and gas fields, and gas remains basically on the similar situation. There's no outlet for gas but coming to Iraq, Baghdad, basically federal government, which is short of gas, but then the agreement on price and how to transfer price and payments remain an issue. So Kurdistan is an opportunity, is a potential that remains out of the market as long as there is unsolved and serious challenges between dealings of Baghdad federal government and Kurdistan regional government.
Iman, final question. Ultimately, Iraq wants to boost output by more than a half to over 6 million barrels a day by the year 2029. Given what you know, given the challenges, is that a realistic target?
I think that's realistic target. Again, we put that as around the capacity at 5.5 million. We think by 2030 combined, and I'm talking now total Iraq, which is federal Iraq and Kurdistan combined. We put that capacity of Iraq actually at 6.2 million barrels per day by 2030 combination. There is always, when it comes to the targets set by NOCs and especially the ministries in this region, always there's a little bit of vagueness in terms of accounting, both in this case of Iraq. Sometimes people talk about federal capacity only versus total, and in terms of other places sometimes they commingle other liquids, so total oil versus crude oil, which means condensate is counted in. But in terms of total Iraq, I think capacity of over 6 million barrels per day by 2030 is looking at the projects and also existing decline rates as well within achievement.